Wicked mother-in-law sends all her sons' wives away until she met her match. One evening, about 2 weeks after Obiora asked his wife to resign, Bua drove home from work only to find her luggage stacked outside the house. A note was placed on one of the bags. "I cannot be married to a woman who is not submissive and does not respect my mother." Shocked, Bua rushed to the door, but it was locked. She rang the bell several times, hoping for an answer, but none came. With tears streaming down her face, she loaded her bags into her car and drove away, never to return. A marriage doomed from the start. Obiora, a wealthy and well-known business tycoon in Lagos, had married Bua in a private traditional ceremony at her father's compound. She was a brilliant and hard-working banker, but from the very beginning, Obiora's mother, Isin, had disapproved of her. The reason? Bua was Yoruba, and Isin, a widow, strongly preferred that her son marry someone from their own Igbo tribe. However, wanting grandchildren, she reluctantly accepted the marriage. Barely 3 weeks after the wedding, Isin arrived at their home, unannounced, with 2 large bags in tow. She moved in permanently, much to Bua's confusion. At first, she played the role of a loving mother-in-law, constantly praising Bua for winning her son's heart. But the moment Bua resumed work after a month-long break, Isin's attitude changed drastically. The subtle destruction. Bua worked long hours, leaving early and returning late. She did her best to maintain the household, spending weekends cooking meals in advance and stocking the freezer. However, Isin was not satisfied. "A good wife prepares fresh meals daily," she sneered one evening as Bua set the dinner table with food she had just reheated. "Mama, you know my job is demanding, but Obiora isn't complaining," Bua replied calmly. Isin's face darkened. "You shameless harlot. Sleeping with clients so they can bank with you," she spat venomously. Bua was taken aback. Hurt and humiliated, she withdrew to her bedroom, skipping dinner. Later that night, when Obiora sat down to eat, he found his mother in tears. "Your wife insulted me just because I advised her to prioritize her husband. She even mocked your late father," she sobbed. Without giving Bua a chance to defend herself, Obiora stormed into their bedroom. "Never insult my mother again. If you speak to her that way, you will see the other side of me," he roared. The next morning, Bua, hoping to restore peace, knelt before Isin and apologized. She even pleaded with Obiora, who reluctantly forgave her. But Isin was relentless. She criticized Bua's cooking, mocked her fashion choices, and belittled her career. Slowly, she poisoned Obiora's mind against his wife. One Saturday morning, after another heated argument, Bua finally confronted her husband. "Why are you letting your mother treat me like this? I thought we were partners," she pleaded. Obiora's cold response crushed her. "Just respect my mother and do as she says, and everything will be fine." A few weeks later, on the eve of their first wedding anniversary, Isin planted the final seed of discord. "It has been a year, and still no children. It's because she works too much. If you want children, she must resign and be a full-time wife," she told her son. Obiora obeyed. That evening, he confronted Bua. "You don't need to work. I can provide for you. Resign, and I'll give you a monthly allowance." Bua refused. "I love my job, and I won't give it up," she said softly. Furious, Obiora issued an ultimatum: "Choose your job or this marriage." From that moment, he stopped eating her food. His mother cooked for him instead. 2 weeks later, Bua was thrown out. A new wife, the same old game. Months later, Obiora met Ngozi, a woman who worked in insurance. Smitten, he proposed within 6 months, but with conditions. Resign from your job. I'll double your salary. Just be a stay-at-home wife. Tempted by the offer, Ngozi agreed. Obiora paid her 3 months' salary in advance, and they wed. 2 months after the wedding, Aisin returned, determined to sabotage this marriage too. Ngozi was the ideal daughter-in-law, respectful, diligent, and an excellent cook. Yet, Aisin saw her as a threat. "This one will make my son forget me completely," she muttered. She began making sly remarks to Obiora. Ngozi doesn't understand real respect. She doesn't know how to manage a home properly. Her comments were calculated, slowly chipping away at Obiora's trust in his wife. But Ngozi was no fool. She noticed the pattern and decided to fight back.